Hi, I'm Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate a really fast method for making 8 4.5-inch finished size half square triangles out of 2 squares 10-inch squared. So let's take a look at a half square triangle. For those of you who are beginners and you maybe heard the term but you don't quite know how to put it together, this is what it is. It's 2 triangle shapes of fabric stitched together in the center. Now, I'm going to give you a simple formula to follow to calculate the square size you want to start out with to create your half square triangles. So if you need a finished size half square triangle that is 2.5 inches squared, here's the formula. Multiply that times 2, which is going to be 5 inches. Add 1 more inch. So the 2 squares you would need to cut out would be 6 inches squared. And then for the 4.5 inch that I'm going to demonstrate now, times 2, which is 9 inches, add 1 inch, 10 inches squared. Now here's for the 6.5, you're going to need 2 squares, 14 inches, and then 8.5 inch finished size half square triangles, cut out 2 squares, 18 inches. Okay, so here are my 2 squares. These are 10 inches. Here is the front side of my light fabric. On the back side of the light fabric, you want to draw some lines. So your first 2 lines you're going to draw, one down the center and then down here through the other way, going in the other direction. So since this is a 10-inch square, you're going to place your 5-inch line on the outer edge here, and then draw your line going down the center. Then turn your ruler and place the 5-inch line on the outer edge again, and then draw your line. Now you're going to draw 2 more lines going from corner to corner. So place your ruler on those 2 corners there and draw a line, and then turn it and do the same thing, drawing your second diagonal line. Now this next step, some of you can probably skip. If you have a 1/4 inch presser foot, you don't need to draw the next set of lines. But if you do not have a 1/4 inch presser foot, you're going to draw 2 more lines diagonal. You're going to draw them 1/4 inch away from this center line on each side. So place your 1/4 inch mark on your ruler on the center line and draw a line. Then go to the other side, do the same thing and draw a line. And repeat this step for this side over here. Okay, now you've got everything drawn. If you need to, you can place a few pins to hold your fabrics together, and you're going to bring front sides together of your 2 fabrics. All right, now you're not going to stitch on these 2 center lines at all. You're going to stitch on the 2 outer lines. So those of you who have that 1/4 inch presser foot, stitch 1/4 inch away from the center line. For those of you without that 1/4 inch presser foot, you're going to stitch right on those 2 outer lines. And when you're done, it's going to look like this here. Here's one that's all stitched. And if you get in real close, you're going to see my stitch lines. Remember, do not stitch here or here, and do not stitch on that center line. Once you've done your stitching, then you want to go to your ironing board and press this entire block flat, okay? Once you've got it pressed, now you're going to cut. And you're going to cut on the center line here and here and these 2 other center lines. So place your ruler on there, and with a rotary cutter, cut, and then do the other one, line it up and cut, and then on the center diagonal line, you're going to cut again, and then one more time on the other side and cut. So when you're done, it's going to look like this here. Now, I've already got these cut, but I want to show you this little Lazy Susan cutting mat. And I love this when I'm doing cuts like this, because you don't have to pick your block up. You can just keep it there and turn it any direction you want to do your cut. And you can find these in craft and some of your large chain fabric stores, and even online. So it's really easy to work with. So after you've done all your cuts, you're going to have 8 half square triangles. Okay, now let me show you. You have a couple of more steps here. All right, so here's my finished one. Here is the light side, and here is the dark side. You want to go to your ironing board, take all 8 with you, and have the dark side facing up. And you're going to open it and then press on top. Make sure that this seam is going towards the dark side. So when you're done, it's going to look like this here. Now I'm going to move this over here just a little bit. Now, more than likely, this half square triangle is probably not perfectly square. I haven't done one yet in which there wasn't some little thing sticking out. Okay, so we're going to square it up. So you're going to take the diagonal line on your ruler and place it on your seam. Okay, so now, because we want this finished size to be 4.5 inches, you want to look to see if anything is sticking out past the 4.5 inch line here and here. And this one does. So what you would do is first cut this side off, then cut this side off. Then you would take it, and then, let me get it over here, take this corner here, turn it, then line up your 4.5 inch line here and here on these sides right here, these 2 sides. And if anything is sticking out, still keep that diagonal line here, and then trim whatever is sticking out on this side and this side. Okay, and then you are done. And this is what it should look like when you are done. Okay, now some of you may be asking, especially if you're a beginner, okay, I've got all these half square triangles, what do I do with them? There's a lot. Half square triangle is a very popular block in the quilt world. So you can make an entire quilt top just out of half square triangles. You can have each one a different color or all the same and make an entire quilt top. Another thing that you can do is make this a border for an existing quilt top you might already have. Just string them all together, make long rows to go on all 4 sides of your quilt. Another thing you can do is to take a solid square in between a half square triangle and alternate it either as a border or an entire quilt top. Or, and by the way, this is what it would look like if you did that. Get some more squares here. These aren't cut, but I think you get the picture. All right, an entire quilt top, just doing that. Now, I want Mr. Cameraman to kind of pan over to this side to the left and look at this block here. Half square triangles are used a lot in making stars. There are dozens and dozens of different types of stars, and they'll all have a half square triangle involved in some way. This is the friendship star, a very simple star block to start out with. In the middle is a solid square. Then you have 4 half square triangles and then 4 more solid squares in each corner. Now, one more thing I want to show you that's a nice block to start out with is a pinwheel block. And if you're interested in learning how to make this pinwheel block and putting it into a pot holder, click on the link in the upper right hand corner. I always tell beginners, start out with something small like a pot holder when you're first learning a new block. And this is a very simple project to put together. Now, I hope you try this little fast, quick way of making half square triangles. A lot of people don't like cutting the fabric. They wish someone else would do it. I personally enjoy cutting the fabric a lot, but if you don't, try these fast methods. Now, if you want to keep informed on all my future videos, subscribe. There's a subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner throughout this entire video. Towards the end of the video is a round picture of my face up here. Click on either one of those. YouTube will ask you for your email address. Enter that information, and the next time I have a new video, YouTube sends you a brief email with a big button in the center. Click on that button and it will take you directly to my latest video. I'm Cheryl. I'm really glad you came to my sewing room. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing.